I'm Texas Dave, and I'm here with my crew chief, Mr. Derek Throne. World's greatest superhero of the year. And we're here with our 2005 Subaru WRX STi rally car that we used in the ARA championship this season in the limited four-wheel drive class. Derek spent the whole season building, maintaining, taking care of this car, so I thought I'd bring him in to talk us through this thing. Yeah, so what is this, Derek? It's a 2005, but it's got a 2006 front end.
Yeah, well, we put a 06 front end on it because I think we all agree that it's probably one of the better looking front ends now.
You didn't initially?
Yeah, exactly. Initially, I was like, how can you do this to a blob eye? But no, now I agree. The Hawkeye looked really good. And I'm glad we made the conversion, but we had to change the radiator support, new headlights, obviously hood, fenders, and all that. We have a nice carbon fiber hood on here, with some extra vents for cooling. But yeah, I think it was the right move for sure.
Which the C word we don't use. We spent the whole season tracking down cooling on this car. It felt like, like we're just got it dialed. So finally got it all dialed in. Yeah, so I mean, I can sort of talk about the parts that I'm aware of, which was obviously I'm inside, so I'm steering wheel, pedals, and shifter. So we have a
with the handbrake.
That one too. That's fuck yeah. We have a nameless handbrake that we had custom made. We have an X Shift 6-speed sequential, which is a 6-speed sequential transmission that fits inside of a stock case.
We had a Cusco rear diff and I believe a Group N front diff.
Yeah, so the STi Group N front diff. Obviously the DC City factory center diff with some mapping that you guys kind of did in-house along with Mike at Innovative, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, Dusty and Mike worked together, came up with the mapping for that, so that way you didn't really have to do any adjustments, you just drove the car.
Yeah, which was super lovely. I was like, oh, look, all these things. He's like, no, don't do anything. Sick. Sweet. Brakes, we ended up with the Trial Engineering Performance Friction monoblock fronts.
Yep. Stock
Literally stock super brakes. My favorite thing of the season, Doug Nagy, who runs the technical inspection scrutineering for ARA, he was like, you would have loved seeing how many people would come over when we're doing scrutineering and walk over and be like, oh, damn, they're really driving the shit out of this thing. There's nothing. Literally, we just got all the best stuff in each category, no bells and whistles.
Right,
nothing
for sure.
Crazy.
Yeah, oh, exactly.
And so we started the season on the Cobb access port to tune it.
We did, yeah.
And then moved to the Link.
We did, yeah. And we switched to like 3 different types of VP MS109. We had MS109E, we had MS109, and then MS109 Reg, which...
I didn't know that. There was literally 3.
Yeah, 3 different changes, 3 different dyno sessions, just because they kept running out of supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they did a good job of getting us fuel, but it just, with everything going on.
That's been crazy, yeah. No, that was like, all I know is blue drums shut up constantly, and they're still just in the background hiding behind us. But that was huge. And the fact that Mike at Innovative Tuning and then Cobb were able to like come together, being that we're like right outside Austin, having Cobb there and Cobb's dyno, plus having, I mean, literally, probably the best tuner that we could possibly have, period. Yeah. In Mike, having his support all season, and then like the fact that we're like, hey, this is the fuel we have, and he's like, throw it on the dyno, let's make it work.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, we really did get the fuel mileage, going away from the E and going to the Reg, our fuel mileage did get better. So it was worth it in the end. Yeah. Gave up a little bit of cooling probably, but we did get the fuel mileage.
We did, and I think the other thing that surprises a lot of people is to know that we ran anti-lag on this car for less than 1 mile in the whole season.
Yeah.
Like we just never, I turned it on once and we were like, well, too spicy, and turned it back off, because at that time, of course, we were like working through cooling package stuff.
And it's like, oh, extra hot? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely not. And then, I mean, for us, max boost we ran on this thing all season was...
I believe like 14, 15 pounds. Yeah.
I think we were like at 12 for a good portion of it, and then I was like, ooh, gave you the extra stuff, 14. Yeah, just slightly less in stock. Okay, cool.
Through a restrictor.
That's, to be fair, yes. Through the 36 mil restrictor, stock
via 48 turbo.
Yeah, which we did use 2 of those in the season, and that was it.
Sure.
Yeah. 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely know that there more went in than I was aware of, but I knew of 2. So
yeah, we were definitely at 4.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Not, it's just double what I thought. That's fine.
No big deal.
And then the engine, I'm super excited with what we got put together from Rally Spec.
Oh yeah, Vince at Rally Spec. I mean, those guys are superheroes. Like when we needed something, they got to us right away. John even went and dropped engines off, waited, and brought them back mid-season so we could keep racing and not miss any deadlines. Yeah, they've been great, you know, and we had a little bit of things, you know, some growing pains to figure out, but I think that's like any engine package. You're going to have some issues to start with, and you work your way through them, and the car is very successful.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, honestly, like, so much of what we found during the season was before we had, well, there was no Motec anything, so we couldn't get our Motec dash. So we started the season with a Cobb access port and a factory dash.
Right, exactly.
And we're in Mexico, and it was like, I don't know, whatever it was, we're at 7,000 feet or 8,000 feet at like 95 degrees ambient. And I was like, man, this thing never got hot. And then Mike would be like,
He's like, well, the gauge never said hot, but
and I was like, oh, I don't know, that's all I had. But so I had no way to know. Like, there's no way for me to pull back on my driving because there just wasn't any information. You just look at the gauge and it's like, yeah, sure.
which is a good thing, kind of, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good thing for me and
Placebo.
yeah, exactly. But less good for Rally Spec, who gave us a really awesome brand new engine, and we took it to the top of a mountain in Mexico and just we're like, it's fine if it runs 40 degrees hotter than you guys said, right? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Forever. We got it up to them. They took it, got it apart, got it back to us in what, 3 days? They got that thing built.
Super quick. Yeah, 3 days.
Incredible.
2 engines in 3 days.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was 2 engines.
It was wild.
Good Lord. Yeah.
And like all new parts, nuts, bolts, everything new, inspected. Like, you know, like they threw away parts that were probably still good, but they didn't want to chance it.
Yeah, and the car's never been better. For everybody who's waiting on an engine from Rally Spec, to be clear, we don't have a cheat code. We still have 4 engines sitting up there that we are not getting back till the end of time, because they were like, here's the deal. If you get these 2 now, you would normally get these 4 in this slot, but now they go back here. We're like, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Fair enough. But we got through the season, and I think that was one of the coolest things. Is our buddy John Seaton drove down from Arkansas, picked up all the engines in a rental truck that we got, and then drove to New Jersey, sat there for 4 days, 3 days while they rebuilt them, turned right around, got them back to us 2 days before we had to leave for our event. Got them in these 2 cars, got them to Colorado for the Rally Sprint, and then this one went straight from the Rally Sprint to Pennsylvania for SDPR.
Exactly.
It was chaos.
Dusty just like
never slept.
killed it. Yeah, he never slept.
Never slept all year.
I killed it all year long, getting engines in, out, you know, maintaining the vehicle, getting it ready.
That's our engine package: stock cams, stock turbo. We're running the Killer Bee manifold. Bunch of stuff from Killer Bee. Those guys took really good care of us all season. And then that's going through the X-Shift 6-speed sequential, like we talked about, that's in the factory case. Group N front diff, Cusco rear, stock DCCD center diff, stock axles.
Stock axles, OEM, front and rear. Basically, we just replace them whether they're good or not every 2 events. You know, and we didn't have a single axle failure the whole season. So, I mean, they've done really well.
Yeah, I think what's really, like, one of the things that we learned this season is how much you can run from a Subaru parts counter on. I wouldn't say that running this car at this level makes sense for most people, because again, like, if you're running a Rally 2 car, an R5 or whatever it is, and you have service intervals, you know exactly what the lifespan of the thing is, it's done X number of kilometers, you take it out, you replace it. Cool, that works great. In this car, we don't have those service intervals, so we had to determine what those were. And some of that was fatigue and failure or testing or whatever. But a lot of it is just being like, you know what, we just need to err on the side of caution. And for us, it's a huge win because we have 30 more of these cars.
So it goes right in there, and they're all Legos, luckily with Subarus, and we can reuse it, and they live a long life out there. So it's great.
So getting through that, we get out to the fun stuff here. We talked about the performance friction monoblock calipers from Trial Engineering. Then we get into the Speedline 2118. This is like the classic gravel wheel. This is like the best wheel of all time.
Very durable wheel too. You know, we ran some other wheels in the past, didn't have as good a luck with it, and these wheels have held up all season. I think we wrecked 1 wheel. All season.
It's pretty incredible.
And it was just ovaled, and it was having a bead leak. It wasn't even cracked. So, I mean,
it took smart hits. And then we partnered with General Tire, which is the Continental Tire family of tires, which also owns Hoosier. So we're doing some really cool stuff with General that we're super excited about. They've been incredible to work with, and they partnered with Hoosier to get us on the Hoosier gravel tires, which is super rad because we got to learn a lot about these tires. We've run, I don't know, what, 6 or 8 different manufacturers for the tires through here in the past couple of years.
Absolutely.
I loved these. What I really liked is the sipes and the tread blocks allow the Hoosiers to move around a lot, honestly right on par with anything else that we've run, which is super impressive because a lot of other people are running, you know, what they deem to be the best tires in the world, and like we're beating the shit out of them on the Hoosiers. And it was cool also to see Hoosier this year is now the spec tire for the European Rally Championship and for the Australian Rally Championship.
That explains the FIA.
It also explains why we barely could get them.
Right.
Because they shipped all of them across the world.
Honestly, though, considering they had all that going on, they did a great job of getting us tires. I mean, we had the mediums like right up front, and then we got some hards later on.
Yeah.
I think we're in agreement that the mediums are our favorite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anything. Like, we know there's a temperature range. There are going to be different needs for each of them. I was just so surprised at how much range you could get out of the medium.
They're great.
Because it's technically really a soft tire. They call it a medium hard. It's really like soft medium.
Yeah.
It's like schmedium and mard.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Hardium.
Yeah. Hardium.
But I mean, the majority of the season was on the softs.
I also like that these are more open.
Yeah.
Like how we would group other tires to get ready for rain, things like that. They're basically already to the point we were opening other tires too.
Yep.
And like you're saying about the sipe goes all the way down, similar to like a Pirelli tire.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, I was really, really happy when we first got on these. It's like, oh, thank goodness, because that's the trouble with a partnership like that. Like, we work with a brand that we love. The people that are in the brand, we love them. We've got an awesome relationship. We have huge things that we're doing outside of that. Like, General and Continental is the best fit possible for what we want to do. Okay. Those guys immediately were like, 100%, whatever you guys want to do, we're in support, and jumped onto some really big projects that we're super excited about. And we're like, hey, we've got the Hoosier, let's do it. And we were like, okay, I've never run it. Hope it's good.
Yeah, right?
I mean, I literally remember like the first mile on the tires was like, I was like, oh God, please be good, please be good, please be good, please be good, please be good. And was like turning the first corner, I was like, okay, all right. And by a mile, we're like, oh, thank goodness. So that was a huge win. And of course, I love with Hoosier, it's rad because they're made in the States. And that's a huge win.
It's very cool.
Has been super awesome. So wheel and tire, brakes, factory hub, factory wheel bearing that we replaced every however many event.
Yeah, we were using the 08 plus STI hub, just because it's just a better style, more steering angle, things like that.
Yeah.
So.
And then we're on the Riger 570s with all the boxes checked for dampers.
Yes.
Which was, that was definitely a game changer. We run, I mean, between the school and everything we've done, we've run like just about every gravel damper that you can get.
Think of, yes.
Yeah. And
they've been super durable. And we've been using them since Washington last year. And without any issue. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 offs and control arm failures, little stuff that I've put the car through. You weren't in the car. No, I wasn't there.
Yeah, no, when you that I've put the car through, to be honest. And every single time we're like, oh man, I don't know, it's gonna be. And we're like, text, Ryder, like, hey, FYI, we might need some parts. And then we get it over, like, are you kidding me?
Like, wow,
how is this real?
Yeah, we just get to clean it.
Yeah. So that's been awesome. We're excited to do some stuff with KW. We were obviously running that stuff on our new 22 WRX Time Attack car that we're building. Yeah, moving throughout the rest of the car, interior, all of our safety stuff is from Sebelt, which has been lovely. I absolutely love the X-Pad and GT Pad seats. Just change cushions. And
well, it's perfect for switching co-drivers. Yeah. My favorite Sebelt thing is the harnesses you guys use.
With the lap adjusters.
Yeah, lap adjusters, the Velcro that holds it onto the seat so it's out of the way. Like the little rubber part that stays on the Hans better. Like they're the best.
We've had a couple of offs in the car this year, and the big win was like every stage start, we've got our little lap adjusters right there. We just cinch. I've never once have any of the adjusters stuck. Have they been hesitant?
Something up.
They feel brand new. That's the difference between big injuries in an off and no injuries. Like genuinely, that really is like 90% of it.
Definitely.
Tony Quinn, who owns Highlands Motorsport Park in New Zealand, had an off recently, and he's got like tons of broken bones, and he largely attributes that to not having the harnesses quite tight enough. Other than that, it's factory wiring harness still.
Yep.
Still have the stock dash behind the Motec dash, which is good because every time I turn my turn signal on, the Motec dash hides it, and you can't hear it.
No. And
so I'm going to guess 1,800 miles this year driving down public roads with my turn signal on.
That seems accurate.
I mean, I don't know how many shots on stage. Like, there's photos of me like going over a jump on stage and my left turn signal. Yep, that makes sense. So the backstory with this chassis was built by our buddy Jeff. Like, we didn't really have any plans of rallying it when we got it. It was just like, it was a good deal. We slapped a stock motor in it, took it and ran a rally, and then like just kind of kept being like, well, maybe.
You're like, well, while we're in there.
Yeah. And then we had like 4 cups of coffee, and we were like, you know what we should do? Let's do this thing. And then here we are. Now we have this ludicrous thing that spent, most of the season running top 5 overall in the championship.
Right. Yeah. It's great.
Off the road.
Yeah.
But it's a custom cages, cage kit that you can weld in yourself. You buy it, it comes on a pallet, all the tubes cut, bent, notched, ready to go in.
It's FIA.
Yeah,
Approved, so
FI
that's absolutely-
homologated. We work now with Rob at Cage Kits, who 3D scans and does all these cages for us. And I, frankly, would only buy the cage kits moving forward. The fitment is incredible.
It's amazing.
They're like, I mean, they're literally touching the corners of the body shell. It's so good. But this was it. This is the gold standard. The one advantage what is called a homologated kit has is you can use smaller diameter tubing in some key areas, because the kit as a whole, they take the whole design and the FIA says, yeah, that's safe to run.
Right.
What we have to build is just built to a basic rule set. So the difference is this one, you can't change anything on this cage. You either put it in as it is or you don't.
Yeah.
So you can't change or add anything. I think the cage kit, to be frank, I think they're a safer, better fit.
I agree. I mean, I get it for weight. They're making
Yeah.
smaller bars, but I'd rather run the thicker bars. You can cut weight in different places. I mean, the fact that you're not going to have to run gussets here because it's such a tight fit.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it may not be that far off anyway.
Yeah, it's a small delta in weight savings, but again, like, I mean, we're talking about a few pounds, but also, I mean, the rigidity, being able to have sort of the redundancy of a sill bar if you want it, plus your door bars, plus whatever else. But anyway,
It is really nice.
fuel system. That's a question that I get a lot. Is people are like, "Oh, what fuel cell do you run?"
Oh, sure. Well, we're running an OEM Subaru tank.
Metal tank.
A metal tank.
Yeah.
This might be the second one. It does have skid plates that Dusty did make on our plasma table in-house to protect it. And then we're running a dual fuel pump hanger, which that way we can run one off of the ECU and the other one is a backup if that one fails, or if we have an off and like some wiring gets damaged or whatever may happen. You just flip a switch on the dash, it turns on the second fuel pump, and you're still driving down the road, because we had a failure at Washington one year where unfortunately DNF'd.
And that's an off-the-shelf part from Radium.
Yes.
And what's cool about that is in our application, we use it as redundant for spare.
Right.
In a high horsepower application, you'd just run it as dual fuel. Yeah, you can have as much fuel as you want from your two, big dog hangers. So
Big loud pumps are in the tank, so you don't have to hear them.
Yeah,
Too, versus in line.
Yeah, for sure. Which is nice, because that's one of the nicest things we like about this, the really low road noise.
It's
super
great.
quiet.
It's like a Jaguar.
Honestly, it is a Jaguar. Yeah, so,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a Jaguar on 35 that somebody grooved their name into with a giant rusty hole in the header.
While playing Barbie Girl.
Yeah. Obviously, we've got the big fancy wrap on that our friends at Graphics Guys helped us do, and kind of kept us freshened up throughout the season, along with Roger and our own wrap shop in-house. Super rad polycarbonate windows that we obviously made in-house. No, these are the 6 over
crest. And then 6 over crest door panels as well. Which are really nice.
Yeah.
Give you a little space. They allow the factory door handles to retain their area.
I mean, honestly, the nice thing with these is they're thermoformed molded plastic that they do in-house. They're basically as light as a carbon door card.
The one thing that we didn't mention is the rear lateral links. We made those in-house. Which they've stood up. We put those on halfway through the season.
Yeah, well, I had the incident in Ohio, and that was when I had what was like, I mean, even John, my co-driver, was just like floored at how, like, it was such a mild off for what it was. We just kind of ran wide, tapped the bank, and we were ready to keep going. We're like, all right, cool. And then bent one of those links, and it's just because the factory ones are meant for road use, not for tapping banks.
Yeah, turns out.
Which, it's like, it's not new information, but there's only so much you can do at a time. And that's been our biggest thing all year, is like, the car we didn't have any plans of like the scale of growth. And honestly, like, we have put the pace that we were driving this car at I didn't anticipate that we were going to be running as high as we were.
Right.
And the thing is, once you start carrying that pace and you start seeing like, oh, we have a chance for more speed, more championships. Oh, we're maybe beating some R5 cars and some Rally 2 cars. Well, maybe, and it's like, so my driving was progressing. Once we got John Hall in on pace notes, helped me develop my pace notes hugely. That changed our pace. And then John was just casually hiking through all of the UK,
which is sounds
in his
amazing.
70s.
Yeah.
And so we brought KJ in, and then KJ and I clicked, and same thing, the pace has just been there. So, finding those spots where it's like, we only have so much time, energy, money between events. What do we do?
Yeah. You got to pick and choose the things you want to improve and maintain, and obviously there's a lot of maintenance.
Maintenance?
Yeah.
I would just give a little wash.
You just you just wipe it down and change oil.
Honestly, a little fresh 300V in there, and she's ready to rip.
Torque the wheels.
She's ready to rip. That's about it. I don't know what other things we want to talk about. Doing some stuff at the Pikes Peak Hill Climb probably.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Jared and Evan at Black Rifle are going to be doing some rallying, I think.
Maybe a brat build, possibly.
Probably a brat build.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a handful of builds we just finished that we should probably actually talk about.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, man. All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions about the car or you're curious to learn more about it, comment, and I'll probably never reply because I'll forget. Maybe he'll reply. I don't know. Maybe Rita will.
Is this going to be on the Instatubes or?
U-Books.
Oh,
Yeah.
U-Books. Got it.
U-Books.
Okay, I'll log into MySpace and check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Get on your Friendster and see what we got. If you want to drive cool rally cars, rallyready.com. Come see us just out that way where the crickets are chirping. Hear that? Wow. Magic. There's 140 acres of some of the best rally stages on planet Earth, and a few cool cars to drive. And you can hang out with cool people like Derek, and you can pet cool dogs like Rita. You're a good girl.
Rita.
That's our sweet girl. And if you see any dogs while you're driving in, pick them up and bring them over here, and we'll find them a home, or you can just keep them for yourself.
Yeah.
What a good girl.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Treats for good girls? Okay, love you guys. See you soon. Bye.